Hey everyone, Prof Sales coming at you with another version of Connect, the show where we connect resellers to other resellers, people that are maybe behind the scenes you haven't met before, or you've seen the chats and so on, and just gives you an opportunity to learn a little bit about them and who they are and what they do. So tonight with me, I have Lauren. First of all, Lauren, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great, great, wonderful. Thanks for being here. And we have Lorenzo.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing well, sir. Thank you very much. So a little bit about the show, guys. We kind of have like a little bit of an interview process, but then it sort of becomes free-flowing. If you guys have questions, let us know. If there's any sound issues too, let us know in the chat. I think we're okay, but who knows? And you know, any questions you have, just type the word question or a couple question marks in front of us so we know it's a question. We'll do our best to grab them all. So I'm going to let our guests talk because this is really about them and not me. So Lauren, why don't we start with you and maybe tell us a little bit about your background and why you got into reselling.
I have been selling on eBay since 2003. I got into reselling right before I went to college. I had a lot of nice clothing and figure skating dresses actually that I knew were worth money, and I put them on eBay, and I got hooked, and I've been selling on eBay ever since. And I've grown from listing about 10 things to having a store with like 700 items. And I would actually like to get my number closer to Luke's, who was on your show the other night.
Right.
I'd love to have 1,400 items in my store. I just need to keep listing. I will get there.
Now, do you sell on other platforms too?
Yes, I do sell on Poshmark. I sell on Craigslist. I sell on like OfferUp, Facebook groups. My main platform is eBay though.
All right, great. And Lorenzo, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background and kind of what got you into reselling?
Well, I'm Lorenzo McCoy from sunny East St. Louis, Illinois. But I was that guy on campus just selling a little bit of everything. I found there used to be a store, a wholesale store right from my campus at St. Louis University. And I used to sell a lot of things there. But when I found out about eBay, I knew I found a business that you can really make money in your sleep. So I've been in and out of it. I hadn't had a chance to go for years steady because, you know, I got married, traveled a lot, went back into painting. But now after listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, I guess Gary V, and he was talking about eBay, I was like, that's right, eBay. And I found you guys because I've just been assimilating a lot of knowledge over the last month, and I've been just building it up from there.
Nice,
so
nice.
Back in it. Happy to be back.
Well, again, thank you guys for coming on. So we're going to learn a little bit more about these guys tonight and give them a chance to hopefully learn as well. So I feel like that's how you, you know, when you ask, you shall receive. So we are going to be asking something of you, and hopefully you will be receiving. And so let's get into, we've talked a little bit about the platform. So Lorenzo, what is it really that you have focused on? Have you found a niche, so to speak, and what you want to sell? I mean, I know you've gotten kind of into this a little bit more full time most recently, but what's it look like for you in terms of picking out product?
Well, the thing that's interesting now, this is my first time concentrating on clothes, because after finding you guys, I used to be into electronics, you know, that big flip really fast, and I used to book scout. But I was like, it is true that when you go into a thrift store, it's mainly books and clothes. So I've been 100% closed this last month and just trying to study, you know what I'm saying? There's something I was never really into before. So I'm 100% closed right now. Then I can always go back into the books and electronics, you know, on the side. But I like the fact that the profit margins for clothes is just I couldn't pass it up.
Right. And I think you just started kind of, I don't know if full time is the right word here. Maybe it is. It's, you know.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty much full time.
But you just started just really full time just a few months ago, right?
Right. Actually, right after Thanksgiving. I've been doing it up to like 4 o'clock in the morning every night. I teach during the day, and then you hear the cha-ching and the children like, yay! And then I'm posting stuff all night.
Nice, nice. Okay, so basically a clothing seller, which is kind of what we talked about before, and we'll get a little bit more into the specifics here in a bit. What about you, Lauren? And I'm pretty sure you focus on clothing as well, but do you have any other niches you get into, or is it more of a clothing focus?
I do mostly clothing. I honestly will sell everything. If I see something that's worth picking up, I'm going to pick it up and I will sell it. But I do sell mostly clothing. Where I am, I can source really great stuff. I find wonderful things to sell on eBay where I am for clothing. Lots of designer items that make it worth my time.
Right, right. And I think we had a question here about Poshmark. Someone had asked, Chicago Crown Hustler asked, does men's clothing do well on Poshmark? Seems like it's starting to pick up. So could you speak to that?
You know, I don't know for sure. I've never actually sold men's clothing on Poshmark.
Oh, okay.
I know that the things that I do list do very well there. They don't sell instantly, but after about 2 weeks, they go. I haven't had anything sell instantly on Poshmark, but I also don't share as much as I probably should. I know it's a very social platform. You're supposed to be sharing and liking, and I more put it up, and I'll share once in a while if I'm around when they have a Poshmark party or something like that. But I'm honestly too busy to be sharing all the time like most of the hardcore Poshmark sellers do.
Parties on Poshmark. I might be missing out.
Oh yeah, they're pretty fun.
All right, all right. So okay, eBay doesn't have any well, they do have a big get together, I guess, every year, but they don't have any parties. It doesn't seem like. All right, so all right, let's talk about your resources here a little bit. It sounds like to me like you guys are both fairly full time with this, you know, and that's kind of a fluid definition for some people. I get. But what about partners or maybe family members and so on? How about you, Lauren? Have you had any partners in your business, or what does your family think of your business, I guess, is maybe a better approach. So what is that like in your family or in your situation?
My husband doesn't do anything, but he is very supportive of me. He's supportive of my late nights of listing and all of our stuff everywhere for eBay garage. So some of my family members like.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Does he help you go out and source or anything like that, or pack and ship or anything like that, or is he just like, hey, that's your thing, take care of it? Sometimes
he'll come out and source with me, but
okay.
Most of the time he's like, it's your thing, go take care of it.
Right.
And some of my other family members, they like to hear about all my big eBay wins and my big sells on eBay and my flips. But for the most part, I just have a supportive family, but they don't really understand what I'm doing. My husband's probably the only one who really gets all of the work that goes into selling on eBay.
Right, right. Okay, and what about you, Lorenzo? Any family members you've convinced to help you yet?
No, because where I'm at now, I'm no longer near where most of my family is. So I moved all the way out here with my ex-wife and stuff. So she's the principal of the school that I work for. So when we get together, we're mainly doing things for the school. But it's just me. Just up all night, doing everything. She'll help me spend the money as it comes in. That's helpful. No, I'm just kidding. Throw a shot at her right quick. But yeah. I'm sure once it gets bigger, I was trying to figure out ways I get my children involved. My son is old enough to where I can probably sit him down and maybe do measurements and take pictures, because I would like to just keep sourcing and then just bring things back. But I have to make sure they can put it up, in a way that's conducive for business. Right,
right. And that makes sense. Okay, so and I'm assuming that, Lorenzo, that you are working out of your house.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Lauren, probably the same situation, I would guess, as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So and that'll kind of come back to that a little bit when we talk about scaling and so on, because I know, Lauren, it sounds like both of you actually want to scale up a bit. So we'll get to that. All right. So let's talk about, Lorenzo, what's a typical day like for you? Walk us through, like, you're going out, maybe you're going to source, maybe you're going to list. What's it look like? Because I mean, you're juggling a couple other things there at the same time. So how do you sort of figure out that time management piece of this, and what does it look like?
Well, during the day while I'm teaching, my laptop is still open. So if if I give them a test or something like that, I can answer questions, people trying to haggle the price down with the, the best offers and things like that. I have little scripts that I have cut and pasted that I can, shoot back to them really fast. And then I'm shipping things at lunchtime and after school. Then all through the night, since I'm a new seller now with this particular account, I can only put up so many things. So right now I can only put up 100. So I'm constantly just changing things around, just letting eBay know that I'm, tending the store so that I can get that right, the most algorithm that I can get, for a new seller. But I'm noticing, the more I do things to it, even if I might do free shipping, then I change the free shipping, change the prices. I'm always just tending to the store, my little bitty shop, just dusting things around, moving things around, putting up a different sign.
So you're basically going like 24/7, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I'm up very late, maybe like 4 o'clock in the morning, because it seems like some people, maybe in California, they're buying things after 12.
Right.
So I like to stay up to at least, I know how it is. If somebody asks you a question, you don't answer it in the morning, you may not hear from them again.
Right. That's a good point. And that's something to remember with time zones. You guys are kind of fortunate you're in the middle though of the country, so you kind of get a little better there. But it's tough when you're East Coast and West Coast, or
that's true.
Or somebody's like in Australia. Like, I don't know what day it is there.
That's true.
What about you, Lauren? So take us through a typical day for you as a reseller.
A typical day for me, I usually get up at around 3:30 or 4 a.m. I will list some items, get ready for work, take care of the dogs, and then I go off to my job. I have a marketing full-time, Monday through Friday, like a 9 to 5 deal. And then on my lunch break at work, I will go out and source, whether it's hitting a estate sale, a garage sale, thrift stores, consignment stores, but I source on my lunch break every day, because then you get the fresh stuff, you see what people are bringing in. And usually if you hit estate sales at those times, if they have them during the day, you're getting the great items.
Right.
That no one else gets. So it's awesome.
Man, you guys are disciplined, like sourcing on your lunch break, getting up early in the morning, staying up late at night, talking to customers. I'm jealous. Like I'm like 9 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. But
trying to be like you, trying to get to your level.
No.
I got to put in the work.
You do have to put in the work, that's for sure. And we'll talk a little bit more about
that. But after I get home, I leave work at around like 3:30, 4 o'clock. I get home. I will ship out anything that has sold during the day while I'm at work. I also do ship outs in the morning too. I get my shipping ready for anything that's sold overnight. Mm-hmm. But I usually sell like 2 or 3 items during the day while I'm at work. And then when I get home, I pack those up, drop them off at the post office. I'm a lucky girl. The post office is about 3 blocks away from me. So that's nice. Yeah. And then I come home and I take more pictures or list more, whichever it is. I usually take a bunch of photos and then I list until those photos are gone. And then I start the process over. So.
Okay. All right. And I think we had another question here about Poshmark. And that's kind of doesn't surprise me, because I think Poshmark is not as well known as eBay and Amazon. So I think there's probably a little bit more, less understanding of there about how it works. I certainly know nothing else about it other than it's called Poshmark. That's about it. And apparently they have parties. But Jennifer asked, is it good to cross-post from eBay to Poshmark?
I do that with a lot of things. Anything that could be really like the 25, 30-year-old thrust, I usually do cross-post, and I will post on eBay or Poshmark. Poshmark, you're going to get more of your like teenagers till the end of college. I'm hoping the age spectrum goes up a little for buyers, but that's normally my buyers, like buckle jeans, big stars, things like that, that's what sells on Poshmark. Anthropology, Free People.
Right.
Big sellers.
Oh, so Karin has to run to get an ace bandage. Yeah, her son Ben hurt his twisted his ankle pretty good playing rugby earlier. So
man.
That's where they're trying to play doctor in the background. So there she is.
Hello there.
Sorry.
Get better soon.
Yeah, it's a Oscar Garcia asked, and this is probably a good question for you, Lorenzo. For first-time eBay sellers, how many listings do you get? Do you remember how many you got at the beginning?
Yeah, the funny thing, it was like 5. And I was
Really?
like, I can't do any business like this. And I called them up, and they were like, okay, we just want to know what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be selling. And I was like, I sell a little bit of everything. But I was like, since I was watching the clothing videos, I said, I'm pretty much clothes right now, a lot of clothes. And so they lifted it up to 50. So I was like, okay. And just last week, a shirt sold. I guess somebody bought a Hawaiian shirt, Disney Hawaiian shirt. And they were like, oh, it looks like you're doing well. You can now list 100. And I stayed up all night because I have so much stuff that I bought that I can't even put everything up. So I'm waiting to get to the point where I can put up at least 50 things a day. And I think I have a system where I can do it.
How many items? All right. So now here's the part where we find out if you're a truthful reseller or not.
Okay.
How many items, Lorenzo, do you have right now that are not listed?
Wow. I've got about 56.
That's not bad.
I keep going over them, looking at them, but I didn't want to buy any more until I know when they're going to let me put up more, because it'll just be sitting there.
Yeah.
Right now I have like 90 or 80 something things up now, and I can't put up any more till next month. And I'm like,
Well, that's good. That's good though that you're waiting instead of saying, "Hey, I'm going to go buy another 50." Because
exactly.
So at some point you have to. Because I read a comment. I don't know if it was on one of my shows the other day, or it might have been somewhere, or maybe it was even a reseller group or somewhere on Facebook. But somebody said, "Oh, I think it was a comment on one of my shows actually," and someone mentioned that they had 400 listings up and 1,000 items they needed to list.
Wow.
Oh, geez.
Money on the floor.
And I just felt like telling that person, I'm like, I forbid you to buy another thing until you list those things, or create a big fire in your backyard. Like something has to happen there. Like that's not how to do it.
No.
That's just tying up all that capital. It's going to take you months, or even years to sell through all that, possibly. But anyway. So that's good that's not too many. 56 is not bad. That's reasonable. That could be one really good trip, honestly.
That's true.
A couple questions here too. I don't know if you guys have any experiences or not. P. Doug asked, any ideas on how to find estate sales? Are estate sales big in your areas of the country? Minnesota, Illinois?
Where I am in Minnesota, they're really big Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you Google estate sales in your city or state, a lot of places have like specialty estate sales where you can actually get emails sent to you of all the estate sales that are coming up. I think ours in Minnesota is called estatesales.net, I want to say.
Yeah.
A week as people sign up their estate sales. So it's really, because you can kind of plan where you want to go and map out. It's wonderful.
What about you, Lorenzo? Have you had any experience with estate sales yet?
Yeah, I signed up for something. I think it's called Garage Sale Finder, and they just keep sending me something in the email. But I know it's been very cold and icy, so I'm sure I have to drive out a little bit. But I know they still keep having them, though.
Yeah.
I'm right in the middle of everything. I'm in the country right now, about 80 miles outside of Chicago, but in either direction, I can go to a lot of nice areas where they have them all year round. There's always somebody moving out and moving in, so things are going to be sold.
Yeah, and I would say too, just to add on to what both of the guests mentioned, is that there's probably auction companies in your area, and you can get on their email list, and they will. And sometimes they don't show up on estatesales.net. Sometimes they, for whatever reason. And also one thing, a little tip I found, I couldn't really do much with this particular company that I contacted, but because it was where I was transitioning my business to more of eBay. But if you contact some of these these auction companies, some of them run consignment businesses and warehouse sales right from where they take in stuff. Some of them are also kind of like clean out specialists, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
Or they will hold stuff for consignment, and you can sometimes go tour their warehouses on certain days, and or even offer to sell things basically, you know, on like a small percentage because they get some of the stuff free.
That's right.
Sometimes when they do clean outs and they've got it and they know it's valuable, but they don't have time to list it, and they'll say, all right, you know, we'll take 20% of it, you know, or we'll sell it to you for this amount really cheap, and you can get some great deals that way. So look for companies that run estate sales and clean outs and try to get on their email list as well. It costs you nothing. And
that's true.
You know, and you might make a good contact there. Let's see what else we got here. We have some other questions here. 41 people watching right now, guys. I just want to say thank you for that. We'd love you guys coming out. And if you're liking the content from Lorenzo and Lauren, or even if you're not liking it, smash the like button because they're giving up their time to be here. So, yeah, that's right. We're gonna, you know, they're coming on and putting themselves out there, and I'm very appreciative of that. And hopefully you will too, and let YouTube know and let me know that, hey, you like the content, you like this type of format. So hit the like button. All right, so some other questions here. Someone said they had 10K listed and 30K to list. Okay, whatever. I don't think it's quite that many, but it probably feels that many. Let's see. Chicago Crown Hustler asks, can you speak about the process of a sale through Poshmark? Listing, receiving funds, shipping procedure, etc. So can you just walk us through a sale, Lauren, on Poshmark?
Absolutely. So your sale, you list your item, you get 4 photos and like a brief description, and that's the first piece of your listing on Poshmark. Once you get it listed, if someone purchases it, you get emailed a shipping label, and it's just a flat rate. It's $5.95 for the customer. You don't pay for shipping. It's really nice and simple. And I believe they're up to 5 pounds. So it's pretty much anything, unless you have like a really, really heavy pair of shoes or something.
Right.
Then you ship it out to the customer. And I believe that they have 3 days from the time they receive the item, according to USPS, to accept it. And once they accept it, your funds are released. If they don't ever choose to accept it, your funds will be released 3 days after they receive it. One nice thing about Poshmark that I really like is they don't do returns.
Really?
It's kind of awesome. Not do returns
So what?
Is not authentic items, then they might do a return, or if it's totally not as described, like if you had like a completely different picture of something up,
Right.
then they might take something back.
That's interesting. I didn't know they didn't do returns. That's
It's kind of really nice. One less thing to worry about.
Yeah. Returns are definitely are kind of a pain sometimes. They're just part of doing business, but they can be annoying. Somebody's giving me estate sales info in my area. Well, thanks, Krillin. Yes, I know they're good by the lake. I know this area he speaks of. Felipe asked, Lorenzo, maybe you could answer this one. What's the minimum? This is a great question, guys, and I'm thinking about doing a video about this topic. And I'll talk more about that later. Shameless plug for my next video. But what's kind of the minimum amount of profit that you would take on an item, Lorenzo? Like if you said, you know, I can buy this item for whatever the amount is. Let's say it's within your sourcing budget guidelines, but you're going to make X. X has got to be at least what? How much has it got to be?
Well, I'm going back to when I first started eBay. Maybe I read a magazine, an eBay magazine, and it was about somebody making like $10,000 a month. And I'm still sort of go by what he was talking about. He will try to find something that he can buy for $1 and sell for at least 10. That's the base. That's the lowest that I try to go myself.
Really? So it's like a 10X. You want a 10X on your money.
Exactly. That's the minimum that I would do. Even though I've seen now, since my account is new, I had to scale it down a little bit just to drive traffic. But it was interesting. Like this week, I just said, you know what? I got so many suits out there. I can't put up any more items. made everything free shipping, and I dropped the price down ridiculously low. But I left the buy it now, the best offer on there. And a lot of people, of course, were like, I'll give you $5 for that. And I just cut and paste something that basically said, well, you know what? I dropped everything down as low as I could just to get ready for 100 more new items. And then they'll just pay what I wanted them to. And I took off all the free shipping and things. I'm getting more sales now. So I was like, okay, just playing with it, Right. But I try to at least get, that 10 times out of it.
Oh, wow. So that's a pretty high multiple. So, but obviously there's a lot of profit. You got a lot of room you can play with the price there if you're
exactly. Especially if you're getting it for $1, for something that
right.
cheap.
So what about you, Lauren? Do you have like a minimum amount that you want to make on an item, like a dollar amount or a times your money amount or something like that?
The minimum amount I usually on every item is $20. And it's taken me years to get to that point to just know what to grab that's going to make me that. But it honestly, it wouldn't be worth my time right now with my full-time job on top of doing eBay at the volume that I do to not be making that at least $20 profit on each item that I sell.
Right.
If I were a full-time reseller, I probably would mix it up a little more and lower that bottom line. But for the time that I put in, I can't lower my bottom line any more than that.
Yeah, because with clothing, you guys have probably found this. Like, let's say that was your mark, and say that was your mark too, Lorenzo, $20. You want to make at least some profit. It's just tough to find enough items at that level sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a good amount, and you definitely can find some home runs that'll make you more than that.
That's true.
But the odds of you going out and finding 500 of them a month, is tough, and that's what you kind of run into sometimes. So, but no, I can understand that. Those seem like reasonable goals. There's Poshmark questions, but I think Lauren is handling those in the chat. So that's why she's on her phone. She's texting.
They're trying to keep up. There's so many.
I told you, it gets like this. It just gets a lot of questions, but we'll get to them the best we can, guys. So please keep the questions coming because they're awesome. One question I had for you guys was, we've talked a little bit about sourcing, but I'm going to move on to challenges because I think there's a lot of resellers out there. She just sorry guys, I got distracted. We're on a diet and she just brought me a Monster, which like totally took me somewhere else, like the energy drink. And it's just like I haven't had one in anyway, so that's why I love her right there. But so what do you guys see as like some of the challenges that are facing you? And, let's just flesh those out for a few moments. Just talk about, and you guys are at kind of two different places, but I'm sure you have some similar challenges and so on. What about you, Lorenzo? Let's start with you. Like, what sort of challenges are you facing right now in terms of this reselling game?
I think for me, the biggest things have to do with the restrictions on how much I can sell right now. And of course, in the beginning, when you're starting back at zero with a new account, you don't even get the money right away. Now, I was out of it for so long, I forgot that I can use the funds that people, out of the funds to ship it. So I was always going to my bank account, shipping things. And I was like, that's right. I can just click the button, pay later. And I was like, yeah. So that, it's been a little learning curve because I have gotten out of it for so long. And then a lot of the things I used to use, Turbo Lister, I don't know if they're still around, but now that I don't have a store yet, I'm just, it's fumbling a little bit with things. But now, the money comes faster. But I know I'm going to want a store at some point so I can do sales and things like that also. So I'm working with the minimum. So that's making it a little bit harder, I think. And I have to drop the prices so much because I know the buyer confidence isn't there yet because of the low feedback.
Right.
So I just try to give excellent, customer service. If there's a problem, then, I deal with it right away.
So what sort of level now obviously let's dive in that a little bit more, and we'll get to Lauren in just a moment as well. But Lorenzo, what sort of, you're going to get through the listing cap, like you've already gone up a couple tiers and so on. But at what point will all right, like, because like my listing cap right now is like 4,900. So,
Wow.
you know, and I don't have 4,900 items listed.
Oh, yeah.
But, and, you know, I've thought about, man, how do I get up to that? Like eBay wants you to get up to that for obvious reasons. And I'd like to get up to it because it's like, wow, that'd be a huge store and a lot of, you know, a lot of revenue and all those things. But once you get to a point that your cap will no longer be an issue for you, what then? Like, what's your strategy? Like, how big do you want to grow it?
Well, I know it's very, very soon I will have to find someone to share the responsibilities with.
Oh, okay.
That's for everybody trying to make $1 million or however much. You have to get to that point to where you can't put your hands on everything or else you'll kill yourself. And I know that from all the different businesses I've done and watching other people trying to do it the hard way. You have to divide yourself and give this person 1% of you, another person, so you have 100% of you out there. And if they just do that 1%, you're making money. And I know I can't just do it the way I'm doing it right now. I'm so tired, you know, every day, but I know I have to do that at first. But I'm thinking, how can I keep scaling up? And, you know, right now the children they're gonna be working. The little sweatshop. No, I'm just kidding.
Get to work. Get 10 cents an hour.
Exactly. Take those pictures right. But now I have to figure out a way that makes it fun for them, but it can also be a nice entrepreneur. Like our school, it's actually entrepreneurial centered. So I'm thinking about ways I can have the students involved, but, you know, of course they can't source right now, and, you know, and even the pictures aren't going to be right, but I have to find something that maybe even the parents can do to help me, you know, even if it's just about let me know what people need to clean out their garage or something like that, you know, then I can just putting that out there and I can get them a percentage so that I'm not just outsourcing and, you know, missing a lot. You can't, because you're not going to see everything by yourself. It's just not going to happen.
True. All right. Well, that's smart. And you're recognizing some of the limitations you're going to run up against in the not so distant future. So I think that's really smart. What about you, Lauren? What about your challenges and so on that you found in your business, and how are you working through them or tackling them?
Can you repeat that one more time, Prof? You were cutting out for a second there.
Yeah. What sort of challenges have you been facing in your business? And what have you had a chance to address them or go after them, or are you just sort of still thinking about, I'm not sure how I want to tackle this quite yet?
One of my biggest challenges is time. I'm super like a huge perfectionist and I have all my time blocked out and I keep wanting to be able to list more, but I don't have more time. So I'm hoping at some point I can get my husband to help me out a little bit with that, like maybe help me make some drafts, things like that, so I can get more stuff up, because I really do want to grow my store a lot bigger. And I need to tackle that challenge and figure out a new system or something so I'm getting more listings up.
Right. Now I know on eBay we have templates and so on. Does Poshmark have something comparable, or can they be ported over if you take a listing over there?
Poshmark does not have templates. It's actually so fast to list Poshmark listings. I normally do those like on 15-minute breaks at work, things like that, because I'll usually be pulling it from something I already have up on eBay. But it's so easy if you just take the pictures with your phone. Then they're with you. You just pop that listing up really quickly. Most Poshmark listings don't have measurements. They're not a big deal on Poshmark. People just don't ask for them. So a lot of times I list things without measurements on Poshmark. And then if someone asks me, I'll post them. Or if I've already had them posted on my eBay listing, then I'll cross over and add them into my Poshmark listing. But for right away, I don't add them immediately. It's just not a priority.
So, and I was thinking, you know, just off the top of my head, you know, the template sounds like something that maybe you already use them, Lauren, but on eBay at least, that could save quite a bit of time if you take a little time to set up maybe 3 or 4 basic ones that you use over and over. You know, just I used to not be a believer in them, and I have recently, since we started selling more tops, I'm like, I kind of have to, because I end up doing different measurements, and I'm like, I just don't want to type that stuff again. You know, that's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that's my full disclosure on templates. But I'm evolving this year. Bins, templates, who knows what's going to happen next.
I do use templates, and they are a time saver. Some mornings, if I have enough coffee, I can get like 30 listings up before I leave, which is amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
But not always, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, and I would say to you guys, you know, because, I mean, not that I'm like some expert on this, but I think Lauren, well, really both of you in a way, it's time. Like Lorenzo, your issue kind of becomes time too once you get past the listing cap, it sounds like. So, you know, I think there's different ways you can really tackle that time issue. There's things you could delegate out to someone else if you have help or an employee, potentially. There's things you can automate, you know, that, you know, you could set up to happen automatically that you don't have to worry about. Like Lorenzo, you were talking about the money out of your bank. You're like, oh, I could just pull money over from PayPal if I need to, and you know, and pay from there. There's some things you could probably eliminate. You don't have to do, you know, you just think you have to do them. You're like, well, is that really necessary? There's some things you could consolidate maybe and have, you know, put them together and bash them together and find some time efficiencies there. Like, I think the problem we run into in reselling is we're like, we want to find like the one magic bullet that'll solve all problems. Yeah. And it just isn't, you know, there just isn't one. Someone would have found it by now if there was. And I struggle with that every day, guys. Time is the big one, because that's the one thing you just cannot get more of, you know?
That's true. That's true.
So you have to find ways. You have to find ways to use it efficiently and more efficiently. And man, it's like a never-ending struggle to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think you just have to keep plugging away at that one and find it for what works in your business. And you know, it's funny, Car and I, the way we list and do the sequence of things has changed 3 or 4 times already.
Oh yeah.
Because she likes to do it this way and I like to do it that way. And it's like, all right, we got to find a way that works for both of us. And I think we have it now finally. You know, we kind of hashed it out, but and it goes pretty quick, but you know. All right, so off of my time soapbox there. All right, so let's talk about advice. And Lorenzo, you're a little bit newer to the game and more of a full-time or a more engaged portion of an engaged method of reselling. And Lauren, you've been doing it for a bit longer, but I think there's benefit in this question. What kind of advice would you give to someone, maybe someone who's watching right now, or someone who's going to watch this video, you know, in the coming days, to someone who's just starting out? Like, if you could give them a piece of advice, maybe it's 2 or 3 pieces, what would you say to them?
I can go first on that.
Yep, Lauren, why don't you go ahead? Sorry.
Number 1, start out selling things in your house. Then you're not really losing money when you're starting out, and you're kind of making like a little nest egg for your business. I started out selling things in my house, and then I just kept flipping into more and more and more. And now I've grown into very large profits from starting out that way. It's just much less risk if you start out selling things that you already own instead of putting money into it. My second thing would be to start small. Learning. Don't think that you should have 500 listings up because you watch someone on YouTube who does it when you're just start with like 50 or 60. And if you can handle that, like gradually work your way up to 100. And then if you can handle that, go to 150. Then like the next month, go to 200, and just kind of keep challenging yourself, because you will get busier and you want to be able to handle it. Because you don't want to have bad feedback on eBay because you shipped something late or overlooked a flaw on something, et cetera, et cetera. Those are my big things.
All right, those are great. I mean, so dead on with that. Protect your feedback. Sell things that you know, like the stuff you own. Obviously, you know it. You know if it's got a hidden crack somewhere or something's broken on it. Those are awesome. So what about you, Lorenzo? What sort of tips would you give someone just starting out in reselling?
Well, I most definitely agree with that. Also, start with things that you already have. And also, I would add something that that gave me benefit years ago was it looked like big stores had things that I didn't have. So I wanted to make myself the eBay guy. I used to go to stores and I would tell them, I can help some of your slower moving items by selling it online for you. And like it was guys that had like those pool stores. They sell like the big swimming pools, the pool tables, and the
Right.
yeah, those like the shelf mannequins, whatever those things are. But I would go in there and see the things they had as floor models, and I put them on eBay. And then I was making money that way. Then there was a guy in Chicago that was liquidating hotels. So I would go in and take a whole room, the bed, the end tables, the mirrors and everything, the lamps, and I'll sell a whole room on eBay. So I say, if you want a one bedroom, queen size, twin size, and sell that whole room. And that gave me a way to get into it without even having to put my own money out. And all I had to do was just take pictures. So I think that's beneficial too. Find people who already have stuff. And then they're going to have things that you wouldn't even thought about before. Different type of clothes, different type of electronics, things that might be old in their family that they were getting rid of. So that helped me too, because I was like, I never even thought about instruments and things like that, and paintings, like things that a restaurant would use that they were getting rid of, big printers that I used to sell and things like that. That helped me a lot. And then I didn't have to pay any money out.
Right, right. No, that's so good. Like those are like all those areas you just named are uncommon sources of product, but there's so many of them out there. Like as resellers, I think we forget about them, because we think, oh, thrift stores and estate sales and garage sales, and then it's like, man, there's all these other opportunities out there that if you just look around, you can find them, and they might even be an area that maybe you have some expertise in, or you worked for a company like that or worked in that industry, and you're going to know, the product. You're going to know what's valuable and what people are looking for.
Exactly.
I have a friend that I actually talked to the other day, and he's an audio video guy, and he's like, yeah, I used to flip that, because I told him what I do. He said, yeah, I used to flip that stuff on eBay quite a bit, because he works in that field. Like he knows what those people want and what's really valuable. And he would go around, and he just got too busy with his job. He just couldn't keep it up. He was kind of part-time anyway. So this is an interesting question just came in from Martha about what you just said, Lorenzo. She asked, how did Lorenzo get them to save the stuff for him to sell? I guess she was talking about what you were just saying.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing that made it easy, they were slow-moving items. Like, let's say I went to this one store, and he had a theater seating couch, or whatever you call it, theater seating, where it reclines, you can put your cups in it and stuff like that. It was all leather, but he had it there for a year for show, and people look at it and of course ordered the brand new one, but it was moved around a lot. Sometimes it might get scratches, people's children to come and jump in it and stuff like that. So it was already slow moving, and I would tell them to give me a good price where I can make some off of it, and I can just I basically say, tell me the lowest you can go on it. And that's where I start the bidding out. At least I can move it for you. So even if I don't make a lot of money, I show you that I can do it. Then that's what I did, and they would start coming down even lower. Then after a while, they would then keep things in the back just for me. And that brings up another topic I wanted to talk about too. I worked for a guy that owned 7 thrift stores in Chicago. That's really what helped me out the most. And before I came there was a young guy who was just buying up a lot of weird stuff. He was like, what is this guy doing? He was selling on eBay. So there was a whole room of us in the back. So if you even went to a person, I don't think Goodwill will do it, but if you know somebody who owns a thrift store, you can go to them and say, there are certain items out here I think you're losing money on. You give it to me, and I take this 30% and I'll put it on eBay for you. And I'll tell you what to sell in your thrift store and what you need to put online. And that's what this guy did in Chicago before I got there. And he was making about 90 grand a year, and that's after the fees and everything, taxes and everything, off of stuff he didn't have to buy.
Man, that Lorenzo, that is so smart. Like that first part of that strategy. So I just want to make sure I got it right, and I think I did. So because the question was, how did you get someone to save something for you? And so you went in and found something that needed to be sold because it was getting damaged, and it was bulky and probably in their way. And you made the deal to buy it and sell it, and not for a huge amount of profit, but with the understanding that you were going to get to come back and have other opportunities there. And they saw that and said, hey, this is a good guy. He's not here trying to rip us off. He's just trying to make some money or run a business, or So I think that's so smart. It's almost like you did a loss leader like a store will do, and sell something at a huge discount where they either break even or even lose money on, just to get you in the door.
Exactly.
I have a similar story like that.
Okay.
I have a couple relationships with consignment shop owners, and one of them recently closed her shop, and I have about 10 bins of inventory sitting in my garage right now that I need to go through that I bought off for $1 for each item. And she gave me the bins and a mannequin and a dress form and like a big stand to put everything on. I actually had to source a lot of my inventory there before she closed up shop, before I got the big deal. She closed up, but I still have a couple consignment shops where I do know the owners and I will ask them for things. So
nice.
It's nice to have those relationships. You get some really good stuff that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like your dog's about to bite somebody.
No, she's talking to me.
Oh.
It's this dog back here. This is Macy. She is a Lancashire healer, and they actually like talk.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Like, we'll just come up and start making weird little noises at you. And
that was awesome. I just heard this. I'm like,
I was like, did somebody fall asleep?
Keep waving your tail if you hear.
That's great. Cool. I might have missed another question or two, although some of the questions in the chat right now are probably somewhat to each other. So do you guys do any, what's the right term here? Retail arbitrage thrifting? Yeah, like thrift, like, looking for things to resell at, maybe discount stores or, big box retail and so on? Or do you stick more to the garage sales and thrift stores and traditional stores? Or how about you, Lorenzo? Do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, I want to get back into it. It's just hard to find. I remember maybe like 2005 at Walmart. I don't know what happened or if it was a mistake, but it was like those V-Smiles or the little games for children, to build up the intelligence.
VTech? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a VTech or something like that.
Yeah.
And it sold for like $70, but they were selling it for $10. And I noticed it was going on at different Walmarts. And I was telling my wife back then, I said, we got to buy them all. And she was like, oh, she was a little afraid. And I only had $100 in my pocket. I bought them all, and every single one went for at least $55.
Nice.
Then we went back. Now she was ready to go back, and they were all gone.
Right.
So it was like within 2 days, you could have made a killing out there. So I know it happens. So every now and then, I still find myself, now that I'm back into it, going through the clearance aisles. Now, those things, maybe they were discontinuing that, and they just had to get rid of them. Or how things go in the industry, they might illegal for them to sell it after a certain time or something like that. They got to just give them away. But I think you can make, immense profits when those things happen. You just have to be on the lookout for them. They're not going to be there, but at least just walk down the clearance aisle. You're going to find that very, very, very deep discount. And it's 100% new and unused. And of course, we know on eBay that sells great.
Right. What about in your case, Lauren? Anything like from traditional retail stores that you tend to source, or?
I do get maybe 25% of my items from traditional retail stores. I will go to certain like outlet, like Nordstrom Rack type deals, and you can find good things there if you know what to look for.
Right.
But it's always hit or miss. If I have the time, I'll go, but I don't make a point to do it regularly because honestly, it's a 50-50 shot if you're going to find anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the bigger eBay sellers source a lot from those stores. So it's slim pickings. It's very lucky if you find things. I'm hoping to make relationships with people at my local Nordstrom Racks so I can get some really sweet stuff.
Relationships are the key.
Yeah. Nordstrom Rack is great, but you're definitely going to pay up for whatever you buy there.
Yeah, you just have to know if you're going to make back the flip before you go. I would not advise it for new sellers at all. I would wait till you kind of know your flip, your item, and if you see that item there, then go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if I walk out of Nordstrom and haven't spent at least $100, I feel like it was a wasted trip. So, it's easy to spend $100 there, but you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lauren, do you consider yourself to be more of the quick nickel approach or the slow dime approach? Do you want to flip things very quick and move items, or were you willing to set to get a little more of a premium price?
Honestly, it's a little bit of both. I do sell a lot of premium items and I do sit on those, but less than half of my stuff I'll throw in like a little bit of bread and butter. Items I know are going to sell between like $30 to $65. And I'll sell those like 1 or 2 every day, and then maybe 1 premium thing a week.
Right.
Sometimes it's slow, it's like every 2 weeks, but it's worth it because I get so much back on the flip from the premium thing that I'm totally fine sitting on it.
Right, right.
And I know a lot of people don't have that approach, but it works for me, and I'm going to keep it up for now.
All right. How about you, Lorenzo? The fast nickel or the slow dime?
Yeah, I think for me it's going to be the same too, because I don't like right now I'm pretty heavy in suits, and I know those are long tail items. And the problem, you know, since I can't put up a lot, that's why I put the price so far down. But I know eventually I wouldn't mind waiting, because then I know I'm going to get that $20 or $30, $50 profit from it, and I can just let those sit, and I can do auctions and other things for the, you know, button down shirts and jeans and things like that.
Okay.
So I would like for it to be evened out, a nice, well balanced portfolio.
Yeah, it's always so tricky to figure that out, because you know you need capital to reinvest it, but you don't want to sacrifice too much of the cost.
Exactly.
Because then you hurt your margin, and man, that's always a tricky thing to figure out, I think.
Yeah.
Especially in clothing. Clothing can be so, you know, the same brand and the same item can have a pretty wide range sometimes, given certain other features or fits or sizes.
Exactly.
So you get in that tricky. So let's talk about this one. And this is kind of my final question for the night. Let's talk about scale. So eBay and Poshmark, I would assume, are great for selling clothing, which is both you guys are clothing resellers, largely, not completely, but largely. But man, scaling, tough issue, right? It's like, how do you scale these businesses? So what's your objective, Lorenzo? Do you see yourself scaling this business? And if so, to how big do you want to get?
I think after maybe about, I say a year from now, I should be able to get it to at least where I'm making at least $5,000 a month, at least. Okay. Just from this eBay business by itself. And the way that I plan on doing it is I know for fun, I want to have a nice size, like, you know, van, and I want to just go up and down the country. And I will keep a certain amount of the clothes with me, so that as it sells, I can just ship it from there.
Really?
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna do that like this next month too. So, and I want to, because the idea came to me because right now a lot of the clothes are in my van, because I wanted to go to visit my mother, but I was like, man, what if something sells, you know, and I don't want to have to come all the way back to Chicago. But I was like, right now I only have 100 things anyway, and I can keep them in these bins nice and flat where they're not getting wrinkled and stuff, and ship them out of there. And I was like, I was wondering what the deals were like in St. Louis. So by watching everybody's videos, it seemed like certain areas had a certain niche. So I was like, what if I just, for fun, for the next couple of months, just drove straight up and down Highway 55, you know, even if I went down to New Orleans and came back, just to see, you know, what areas, you know, what the price ranges were for different items, and going to like different, like I saw somebody was by a military town, and he was just getting a lot of high end, like the bags that they use, even the book bags, like $200 book bags. Yeah. And like the different, I can't think of you know what I mean? Like the different cases that they have and stuff like that. And I was like, I can go to Scott Air Force Base in that area where I'm from, and maybe see what they have in that area, you know, in the thrift stores. I'm pretty sure you're going to find little niches around the country. And I just wanted to do it just for fun, just to see how it was.
If you do that, you must video it. You must let us in on the journey, because that's going to be really interesting to see.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. No problem, no problem.
I don't think I'm at a point where I could load up 1,000 jeans in the back of the van and do that and keep any sort of sanity. I would need a bigger van, and probably a lot of medication. But that sounds like a really cool road trip, and we would love to see that. So, what about you, Lauren? What's your thoughts on scaling your business? Do you have any aspirations to do that, and if so, to what?
I do really want to grow. I am at the point now where I'm making a pretty decent income where I could probably go part-time at my day job if I wanted to. I wouldn't go all the way and quit because I want to keep my health insurance, but we'll see. I do really like my job though, so I don't foresee myself leaving anytime soon. It's kind of just a nice thing to know that if I ever wanted to, I could walk away. You know how that goes. But I do want to grow my eBay business a lot. We are currently pretty much debt-free, and I like staying that way. eBay's helped with that. I did used to have a job that I hated where I made a lot more money, and I kind of started scaling up my eBay as I quit that job because I wanted to make up for that income, and now I've actually surpassed it. So that's really wonderful. And I just like to keep going, you know, let's keep the money coming in. Let's save some money. Let's set bigger goals. I will scale up though, for sure. Each month since probably June, I've started listing more and more and more. And I really do want to hit that 1,400 listing mark. And then from there, I will keep going up. I know I can do it. It's a great thing to do every day.
Yeah, it's so funny because I talked to Luke, who was on the show the other night, and was talking about that. And we talk a good bit during the day now, you know, just messaging back and forth. And man, he's like on a machine to do that, you know, because he's working a full-time job and working another full-time job with the 1,400, and he's doing it all himself. And he has to be very dedicated to it. But you know what? It is doable.
Exactly.
It's not easy, that's for sure. And you've got to be committed to it and have great systems in place and really think about your time management and commit to it. But it is doable to scale, you know, to a pretty large business if you get your systems down and so on. Because I hear that all the time, and like, you can't scale eBay. And I'm like, all right, well, you can't scale it maybe to the size of Amazon, but you know, there's people who do $10 and $15 million businesses on eBay.
That's
so
true.
Clearly you can scale it. Unless $10 and $15 million is not enough for you, but be enough for me. I'd take it.
One of my big issues is space right now that's slowing me down.
Okay.
My office, I'm actually sitting in it right now. It's one of our guest bedrooms, and it's really hard. And I'm constantly running back and forth to the garage and the basement and a different bedroom where I store stuff. And I'm currently slowly moving my office into the garage so I can have everything in there all at once. And I even have like built-in cupboards in my garage. It's amazing. So it's going to turn out to be a really good office when I get there. And I really see my productivity going up once I'm out there.
Yeah, well, that's so key to have like a space, right? That's got the room and makes we're running into a space issue here too. Just when we have to do anything outside the ordinary, or even some of the ordinary things, just like we need like a work table almost, you know? It's
Exactly.
Yes.
somewhere to pack and ship, or somewhere to lay stuff out and process it, and it's like. But what about you, Lorenzo? Do you have a space issue as well? We know you can fit your stuff in the van.
Exactly.
Now.
Because
Where do you keep it normally? Do you keep it there normally, or do you keep it somewhere different?
Well, it was everything was in the house hanging up, but that became an issue, you know, because it is my ex-wife. We're best friends. We'll always be best friends, but it's still, you know, it was taking up a lot of space very fast. So I went to Walmart, and they had these little bins with like this handle on it and wheels. So at first I got one of those, then I had to get another one. So it's like about 5 of those that I have now. And you know, when we do the school and stuff like that, we go from the library to another building. Sometimes we do things at the house, and she's like, "Get those out of here." So I started putting them in a truck, and I was like, you know what? I think I can travel up and down the country, you know, with this, you know, and ship out of there. And that's what I've been doing, you know, just putting them in the van just to get them out of the house. I didn't want to keep them in the garage. So, you know, I was like, oh, they're going to get too cold. So in the van, inside the garage is nice and warm, you know, it's climate, you know, controlled. But now it's getting to the point where I think I have to figure out if I do get on the road, where would I put some in the stores? But I would hate for something like that to sell and I'm out of town. I don't want to have to rush back. And that's where maybe having her, I might be able, I'm setting up a system right now. I'm going to set up a product number for each thing and put it in the listing to where it makes it easy for her to go get it and ship it. Or maybe my son can do it. You know, he's in high school. He should be competent enough to get that done.
Right.
That's great. Maybe I should have some kids and put them to work, huh?
That's right. Make them work.
I mean, everybody's doing it.
Me and my brothers built my father's paint company, going door to door with pamphlets and stuff as children. And, you know, I was cleaning brushes and everything before I became a professional painter. And I do believe in, you know, make the children work. You know, they don't have to, you know, not like I'm joking, but they will learn that as long as you can sell, you'll never be broke. You'll never have to beg for work from someone.
That's great. You're exactly right. Well, listen, guys, it's the top of the hour, and I'm going to be respectful of my guest time. We did promise them a 1-hour show. So I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. So refreshing to see some new faces and hear different perspectives. And I hope that you guys can take this opportunity between the two of you and with others in the community to connect to people, because that's really what the show's about.
Yes, sir.
To let you connect. And, you know, you never know where those connections are going to take you. Different business ideas, different partners, just sometimes it's someone different just to talk to. And, you know, you guys, I put both of your contact info. Lauren, do you want to tell people how to contact you?
You can contact me through my Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel attached to my screen name, Hot Chick Thrift. You can also contact me through email. It is listed on my YouTube channel. Or you can message me through Instagram and I can send it to you as well if you'd like to send me any questions. But I am pretty active on Instagram, so if you message me on there, I can get back to you pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I am a grandma, though.
You what?
Really. I am a grandma. I go to bed really early because I get up so early in the morning. So if you're after 9, I'm not going to answer. Sorry, guys.
Well, and if you would like, you can give me the link to your channel. I didn't have it today when I created the description, so we can put that in the info too. So.
Oh, perfect.
So, and Lorenzo, how about you? How can people get a hold of you?
Well, a lot of people reach me through my other company, healthyselfuniversity.net, and I try to put a lot of things on that, or knowthyselfuniversity.net. Both of those link up to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page. I believe the Facebook, like facebook.com/El Dragon. So, or if you look up Lorenzo McCoy and look through all Lorenzo McCoys,
you'll see your face.
Exactly. But Lorenzo McCoy, I believe, will pull up the YouTube page also.
All right. Well, very good, guys. Well, again, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody in the chat who watched. And if you're watching this later and you have a question or comment, there will be ways to contact Lauren and Lorenzo. Or if you just want to put a question or comment in the comments of this video, these guys hopefully can come back and see it as well. I always encourage my guests to check it back out later because sometimes people have specific questions they didn't get to ask during the live chat. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much for that tonight. That's going to do it for another version. This is our second episode of Connect. I don't know who it's going to be next week yet. I'm still in the process of getting that confirmed. It usually takes me about the end of the weekend before I finally figure out who it's going to be. And but we still have about 6 or 7 people who want to be live on YouTube. God only knows why, but they do. And I'm going to make the dream come true if I
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, this is Prof Sales, and you've just watched Connect, and we will see you real soon. Thanks.